Any questions?
Yeah, Friday night we heard about how you can support me through what your greatest risk factor is and how you go about addressing that. What are your thoughts on that?
The greatest risk factor. Even though the technology has developed quite a bit, there are certain technology risks that need to be accounted for. And so one of the factors that we put in place, that we see putting in place for this technology, is to have constant two-way communication. So, for example, the security office would always be able to hear what is happening around the location of the robot. So if there was something that the robot could not handle, they would be able to immediately respond. Also, people that get used to watching the robot make its rounds will be able to communicate with the security office directly through the robot. Any other areas that we've thought of?
Can you clarify what you mean by risk factors?
Yeah, what do you think the biggest risk is in trying to get your venture off the ground? We talked about technological risk. What about business risk? What would be the number one thing that you'd want to address to make sure it's viable?
I can get that one.
Okay.
I'd say the number one risk is that technology companies or companies that would employ these bots are entirely happy with their current security force. If that were the case, there'd be no market for enhancements, technological or otherwise. I think we're confident that that's not the case, though, and that there's widely understood need for improvements in that area.
Yes.
So, one of the things that could be a possible program for you is like PR and taking away people's jobs. Like, how do you see that you would battle that, or what action would you take to deflect that kind of?
I think I spoke with Adrian downstairs that has Microsoft security guy. So it was Securitas. And yeah, one of the first knee-jerk reaction is that, yeah, this thing's going to take our job, and I hate it. But the emphasis is that these bots are there to help them, basically to leverage their security people. Basically, you mentioned layoffs. Basically, people are being laid off, and I'm saying, yeah, you guys are being laid off, and you guys are having to do more work with less people. And I give the analogy of a carpentry house, and where carpenters are being laid off, and they have to do more work with the same number of people. And I'm saying, hey, you're doing more work, less people. People get tired, they make mistakes, they can get hurt, they can hurt themselves, cut themselves. And it makes sense to say, invest in power tools for their workers so that they can be more productive and work more safely. So the bots are there to leverage, number one, first of all, to leverage the existing personnel so that the bots are their power tools, their partners. Basically, they have there are conditions where it's not safe for them to go, and it'd be a lot safer for them to relocate send our bots into various facilities to check and verify.
Time for our last question.
So if you're looking at like a $9 billion industry, you're probably going to be talking about a lot of robots out there. What is your thoughts on support model when robots potentially break down?
Yeah, well, we've in our current lives and previous lives, we worked with we contracted a lot of that service out, both domestically and global. Companies like Serveright, for example, they provide on-site support, on-site service. We can supply the parts. Basically, they can buy a small inventory of parts and key parts, and they can be there. PRI are small company can make small company look like a very big company.
Good job, guys.
Thank you so much.